What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here on this Wednesday morning. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and this weekend I am going out of town. I'm actually leaving on a trip for an event in Houston, Texas, starting tomorrow, and I will be there for the Low Carb Houston event. lowcarbhouston.com. There's still a chance to go get tickets if you want to join us, but I will be one of the featured speakers. I think I'm speaking on Friday right after lunch. So be there, be square. So I'm going to be doing my Instagram lives the next few days from Houston, Texas. We'll try to squeeze them in between the conference times. So thank you guys for joining me. So if you've been joining me lately, you know that I have started a brand new project called Jimmy RANTS. And so you guys here on Instagram that are with me live or watching on the replay, you're not the only ones watching this now. We now have viewers on YouTube, and starting next week, we're going to be sharing highlights from the rants, the Jimmy Rants, on a brand new podcast that's coming out that will be out daily. So yes, I have lost my mind doing a daily podcast, doing daily Instagram lives, and posting these to YouTube as if I needed something else to do. But this is kind of fun, you guys, and it's a new concept I've never seen anybody else doing, so why not forge new ground with this format? So what I do here is I grab a topic and I rant about it. So today's Jimmy Rants, is all about how you deal with those people who think you're killing yourself eating keto. Because you know you get them. You know Aunt Susie comes up to you and is looking all... Well, I see you're eating butter in your diet. Don't you know you're gonna die if you eat that butter? Meanwhile, she's over there eating her toast without any butter, maybe margarine on it, maybe some jelly, and having a glass of orange juice with it, and she thinks you're killing yourself. So... it's an interesting kind of juxtaposition, the way that we think in this country regarding health and what healthy nutrition looks like. Because for the longest time, and it's not just America, it's around the world, but for the longest time, everybody has believed that fat is the enemy in their diet. And we talked about this on a previous Jimmy Rants, that you got to stop fearing fat. But getting people to wrap their heads around that and to understand that and get the purpose of it all is an uphill battle. And the worst people in the world about this has got to be family. Family is just, they just don't seem to get it initially when you tell them what you're doing. And especially when you show them what you're eating, they're like, oh my goodness, how can you eat that heart attack on a plate? And Christine and I actually ran into this when we first went keto, and we went to visit her family in Indiana. They are an Italian family and a half, and they were used to eating like every few hours and having pasta and sandwiches and you name it. It's just food. And we would go there and we would only eat a couple of times a day. And so meal time came and we're like, well, we're not hungry. Well, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you eating? What are you dying? What's wrong with you? And then we tell them, well, we had, eggs and bacon for breakfast. Oh, you need to eat more healthy. You need to have a bagel with cream cheese or a whole wheat bread with margarine, and you need to have oatmeal. So all of this notion of what healthy nutrition is where this contention comes from, where people who don't understand keto and all the science behind it, and that it's extremely healthy for you because of a lot of the reasons we've talked about on these Jimmy Rants, lowered inflammation, lowered blood sugar, lowered insulin levels, on and on and on, that we could talk about. But all people see is, quote, all that fat. So if they're seeing lots of fat on the plate, or what they have deemed to be unhealthy food on that plate, they think you're killing yourself. And of course, we could turn the tables on them with that oatmeal and toast with margarine and orange juice styled breakfast. And we could say, you know what? I think you're killing yourself with the way you're eating. And actually, we have lots of good science that would support that. Because what we know is carbohydrate intake, which that kind of a meal is almost all carbohydrate. Sometimes they even throw a banana in there, and that's more sugar, more carbohydrate. All of those sugar grams, all that carbohydrate is actually inflaming the body. And especially the margarine would have bad oils in it. That's inflammatory. The processed carbohydrates, which a lot of oatmeal has, is highly inflammatory. Orange juice, which takes the best part of the fruit orange and throws it away, and all you're left with is the sugary swill, and that's highly inflammatory. And if you're insulin resistant, newsflash, even that 29 grams of sugar in that banana is going to be harmful to your blood sugar and then your insulin levels, and then that raises your inflammation levels. So all of this stuff combined that people eat that they think is healthy is actually the one that's going to be killing them. Slowly, but eventually will kill them, give them some kind of a chronic disease, and then they'll wonder, well, I did everything right. How in the world did I ever get this? How did I get type 2 diabetes? How did I get heart disease? How did I get cancer? How did I get Alzheimer's disease? Because I did everything I was told was the right thing to do, and I still got unhealthy. Meanwhile, those of us that eat real whole eggs and bacon and avocado and cheese and steak and other sources of full-fat meats and well-sourced meats like grass-fed and organic and pastured, organic vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, butter, lard, coconut oil. In other words, real whole foods. We're the ones that's going to stick around for a long time. We're the ones that are going to have health and vitality and longevity long after those family members and friends and coworkers that mock us for how we eat now. We have to be the example to them. And here's a happy story regarding that. So I told you about, we went to Indiana and some of Christine's family didn't really understand why we were eating keto. Now they're all asking about keto. We had one of Christine's cousins actually have a heart attack, and he wrote to me right away, hey, help me understand this keto thing because I think I need it. Had another one of Christine's cousins wanted to just be generally healthy and knew about keto from us. And again, was asking about how to do it and what it's all about. Christine had a couple of family members die from cancer. So this has gotten real for people. And whether you realize it or not, those very people that are claiming that your ketogenic diet is killing you, they're watching everything you do. You are a living example to them. And whether they articulate it or not, that they're doing that, they are watching you and they are paying attention to how you're doing, and they're paying attention to how you feel, how you look, how everything is happening in your life. And it's really fascinating to me that the very people that are the most vocal against you eating keto end up being the very people that come desperately crawling to you saying, please help me, I'm not doing well. So if you've got that nagging uncle or grandpa or sister or coworker or best friend that is just bugging the crap out of you because you're eating keto and they think you're harming yourself, you keep smiling, you keep doing what you know works for you, because when the time comes, those very people that are scarfing down all those carbohydrates thinking they're doing something healthy for their bodies, they're going to realize, oh my goodness, you were right all along and I was wrong. And that's a humbling thing. And we need to have a spirit of acceptance when that happens, not a neener. It'd be very easy to rub it in their face of, see, I tried to tell you guys, but I think everybody comes to keto on their own timing and in their own understanding. I think with now keto being in the mainstream and it being a whole lot more popular and people understanding it a lot better than they ever have before, we're getting a lot of new people into the fold. There's a lot of great resources. People will learn, but sometimes it's that knee-jerk reaction that they have to go through of, oh my gosh, bacon and eggs, you're going to clog your arteries and give yourself a heart attack. That's so unhealthy. Eating fat will make you fat, blah, 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 blah. And you just kind of smile and say, thank you. Appreciate your opinion. I used to think all those things too, and I started reading. And so this is where you can recommend resources. So recommend podcasts, recommend books, recommend people that you follow and people that know what they're talking about when it comes to this subject, and then expose them to it. And if they choose not to do anything with that, then that's their decision. But at the end of the day, you did your job, and the biggest job you have is doing that, living by example. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Hello, Lauren. Hello, George. I see a lot of my usual suspects. Thanks for being here. L. Andrew says, to your topic, I speak about keto with authority to those who challenge my lifestyle, and then they leave me alone. I effectively argue their assertion and take the opportunity to impart knowledge. And that's always, always, always a good idea. I don't talk about keto unless somebody asks me about keto or says something regarding diet, and is basically urging me to comment. That's when I talk about it. Because it's very tempting, especially when you're a keto diet book author and podcaster and personality in this world. People think I probably walk around, hey guys, keto. I don't do that. But if somebody asks me about it, you bet I will bring it up. And once you get me started, I don't stop. So I killed myself with keto, killed the inflammation, daily headaches, lethargy, body odor, coated tongue, brain fog, anxiety, anger, rashes, etc. I'm brand new. Other than that keto thing didn't really do anything for you, Keto Neogenesis. Run 16 says, I think it's a problem mainly when you start going keto. Once they see results and how healthy you are, they tend to be quiet. And that's a great point. And anybody that's watching this live on Instagram, on the replay on Instagram or on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on the Jimmy Rants podcast, you have to know that when you first start on a ketogenic diet, don't tell anybody you're on a ketogenic diet, because unless you like people railing against your diet and trying to convince you that it's the devil and it's going to kill you. That is when you are most susceptible to being influenced by those people that say that you're killing yourself eating keto. So if you're just starting, try to tune out the noise. Try to get plugged in to Facebook pages or watching me on my videos, whoever that you're following, and try to find encouragement while you're starting this new lifestyle, because that's what you need at that point in your journey more than anything, is encouragement and knowing that you're on the right track. Because once you've done it a while and once you start seeing those results, the results will speak for themselves. And yes, the best silencer to your critics is success. So if you're just joining us, we are talking about on this Jimmy Rants episode, how you deal with people who think you're killing yourself eating keto. Let's see what we got here. I try to go organic, but it's expensive and I can't afford it. So I just get keto foods within my budget. Thank you, Gerald. That's a great idea. I'm always about people finding what they can get. The main thing that you need to focus on is reducing the carbohydrate intake. If you can do that and get the best quality sources of food that you can afford, then good on you. But here's an interesting thing that people don't realize when you get the quality food. Yes, it's more expensive, but think about all that stuff you used to buy that you don't buy anymore. So like Ding Dongs and Ho-Hos and Doritos and Coca-Cola, you add up what all that crappy garbage used to cost and what you eat now on your ketogenic diet, it's measurably less. In fact, I did a cost analysis one time on how I used to eat prior to eating low carb, and then now. And it's so much cheaper because I'm only eating about twice a day. Whereas before I was eating all day long, basically every few hours I was starving. So I was having to constantly push that cheap food into my mouth, and it added up. But now I can get a grass-fed hamburger meat, and I can get some organic spinach from Sam's Club. I know Sam's, they have a big tub of organic spinach, baby spinach that you can get. It's like $3. So it's not really as expensive as people think. And then here's what happens when you buy the better quality, also like grass-fed butter. When you get the better quality, that better quality has micronutrition in it that actually gives you more satiety on your ketogenic diet. So maybe you're eating grain-fed meats and you're getting hungrier faster. Well, there's a reason for that. It's missing a lot of the micronutrients. And so if you get the better quality foods, you don't have to eat as much of those higher quality foods to get better satiety. So sometimes it's a priority thing. Maybe I'll do another Jimmy Rants all about how you can budget getting the good stuff where you can and what you should focus on for the good stuff. All right. My mom 1 year after still thinks I'm killing myself. And Zeta DM, she probably will until she sees evidence either in you, or if she's actually interested, she could learn about it on her own. But you can't really lead people to doing this. All you can do is just show them what it is, and they have to make up their mind on their own. All right. How to educate if they are willing to learn, otherwise block and delete them, or just keep that topic off conversation. Tons of backlash toward my kids because of healthy foods. And that's a shame, Kat, that's happening. But it is the reality. And unfortunately, until this becomes clearer in the minds of people of what keto is and how to best communicate it to people so that they understand what it is and they don't think it's harming them. I still think most of this keto diet being harmful and dangerous, most of it comes back to the fat issue, which we talked about on a previous Jimmy Rants. And there's really nothing you can do about that until people wrap their heads around it. So, yeah, you're right. We just need to keep educating. It's one reason I'm so passionate. I do 5 podcasts a week. And now with this new Jimmy Rants one, doing these little daily mini podcast episodes, and then doing these Instagram lives, which are on YouTube. It's just all about education, because until people understand this fully, they're going to keep flailing with the knowledge that they think they know, and that knowledge could be dead wrong. My husband is a carb addict and won't listen to me. Firewolf Ashton. Yeah, you're not alone, Ashton. That is something that I see far too often. And people get discouraged by that. And again, as I said in my rant, we got to live by example. And all you can do is share the information. And here's the really interesting thing to me. Keto is probably one of the best tasting, hands down, most fulfilling, most nourishing ways to eat that you could possibly do. I think back to my low-fat days and I go, I was miserable all the time. I was hungry. I was grouchy. I wasn't myself. And it wasn't until I was able to go low carb and then keto that I realized all those years that I wasted eating a low-fat diet, thinking I was doing something good for myself because it was the right thing to do. And now realizing, oh my goodness, I don't feel like I'm dieting because the foods are so luxurious. Dr. Atkins talked about this a lot in his books. Go get Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution if you've not read that book, because he kind of gave a precursor to a lot of the things that we're seeing now in ketogenic. Now, his diet wasn't explicitly ketogenic always, but the first phase it was, and he was talking about some of the benefits of eating kind of this way and how it's radically different from everything else. And maybe that's where some of this negativity still stems from too, is its hangover from the negativity that was out there with Atkins. And because Dr. Atkins died in a slip and fall, but yet it was blamed on his diet, people still have this notion that this low carb diet is so unhealthy because of all that fat. So, it's going to be a tough road, but I'm not giving up. Someone told me on Instagram, that is a nurse, said keto or low carb is unhealthy, but then they go and eat ice cream, Domino's pizza, and junk food. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's so ironic that the very people that look at your diet, your keto diet, and say it's unhealthy, they're the very people eating the things that we know are leading to chronic disease. And so, again, live by example. And someday they will come back to you when they need answers. I am strong. I am keto says I lead by example. Then they come to me and ask questions. I don't listen to the naysayers until they need me. Bingo. And I do think we can drop subtle knowledge here and there, again, when asked, not being pushy, but when asked. And when the time comes, when they're ready to accept the message, then they'll come to you. I don't talk about keto unless they ask. I'm an RN and work with others who eat foods that tremendously damage their health. D-Bays RN. Thank you for that. And yeah, I'm sure you see every end of the spectrum on that one. Olga says, same goes for fasting. People's heads explode when you tell them you're fasting. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole Jimmy Rants all about fasting soon. But yes, they think you're in starvation mode. They think you're anorexic, some eating disorder. We're going to hit that one hard, Olga, so hang tight. It's hard to do grocery shopping. I want to tell people how bad what they're buying is. Ashton, yes, it's hard not to gaze into some people's carts. Although I am being encouraged when I go to places like Costco, which are tending to carry a lot more of the keto-friendly types of foods now. I'm so encouraged seeing people getting really good quality food now. So I do sense that it's changing. I do sense that there is an awakening happening where people are realizing all that junk they've eaten for so many years under the guise of, oh, it's healthy whole grains. They're realizing what a ruse that was. Not everybody, but a good chunk of people are. I don't know that many kids with zero sick doctor visits, 2 kids, no sick visits ever. Something must be done right, right? Yes, that's right, Kat. You are doing it, and you're giving your kids really good quality foods, and the payoff is they're not having to go see the doctor. That's great. Hello. So if you're just joining us, we are talking on this Jimmy Rants episode all about how do you deal with people who think you're killing yourself when you eat keto. Someone on Instagram said that keto is unhealthy and then they eat Doritos and ice cream. I get that in real life too. They think drinking soda and all this junk is good. Ha ha. I don't know anybody that actually thinks drinking soda and junk is good, but they do think keto is bad for some reason. So it is kind of a strange juxtaposition. Kimberly says, I feel like I'm building a legacy for my children. Number 1, having healthy parents who will live a long life. Number 2, that they will have a lifestyle for a long life so that they can see their children and grandchildren win. That's a great perspective. And kudos to you for teaching your kids the value of real whole food eating at such an early age. Had I been taught about the value of eating real whole foods when I was a kid, I don't think I ever would have got to the level of obesity that I did. At my highest weight, I was 410 pounds. I don't think I would have developed as severe of an insulin resistance that I did. I still would have had insulin resistance because my mom, she was over 300 pounds when she had me, and I was a C-section. So I never actually got the benefit of a vaginal birth. And when you're a C-section baby, you don't always get the gut health benefits that would feed your microbiome to start your life. So I was kind of doomed to be in the obesity category from birth. And thankfully, because of keto, I'm able to buck a lot of genetic tendencies towards heart disease. I still have weight on my body, but how big would I be if I wasn't eating keto? That's what I keep reminding myself. And again, kudos to you for teaching those kids at such an early age. Shearston says, I tell them about all the positive benefits that I've experienced, better energy, happiness, that something is working, that this method of eating has been around for ages, and don't knock it till you try it. Yeah. Human history is our proof that keto ain't going to kill you. Because here's the thing. Had our ancestors in hunter-gatherer days, had they not been able to survive on eating a mostly higher fat, mostly kind of carnivorous diet with periods of fasting, we wouldn't be here today as a civilization. But they not only survived, they thrived. They made it, and they were able to be robust in their health if they didn't get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. And so we need to be mimicking that because we have the same genes that they do. People forget that. They think, okay, well, you need healthy whole grains. Well, guess what? Hunter-gatherer peoples, they didn't eat grains. So why do we today, with our smugness of health experts that are out there, think that we have to eat healthy whole grains? They didn't have any grains, and they did just fine. It's really funny. I was just about to say the same about shopping. I don't want to go up to them and say, oh no, honey, don't eat that. I tell them how I was really sick and now I'm really healthy and off of all my medications. Debbie, that is perfect. And yes, coming off of prescription medications is a big deal. And again, a lot of people think, because they go to their doctor and the doctor says, oh, you need to be on all these drugs, that, oh, well, I'm healthy now because I'm on the drugs. Not realizing that, oh yeah, if I don't take any drugs, I'm even more healthy than taking the drugs. When my daughter looks at food labels and puts things down because of high sugar and carbs, that's when I know I'm doing a great thing. Olga, you are a great mom, because that's beautiful that your kid's doing that. And it's pretty smart. I'm a C-section baby too, formula fed, and I was obese. It does connect the dots, doesn't it, Kat? All right, guys, that is it for this Jimmy Rants episode. I hope you enjoyed this. As always, go to jimmyrants.com and you can watch this video and all my videos, all my Jimmy Rants videos on YouTube. Of course, it's here on Instagram Live. I try to do one Jimmy Rants in the morning, one sometime in the afternoon, Eastern time. And then we post them on jimmyrants.com so you can go and watch the YouTube videos. And coming soon, we're going to have little snippets from these Jimmy Rants on a podcast that will air daily. The podcast will be somewhere around 15 to 20-ish minutes long. And it's going to be highlights from these Jimmy Rants to try to whet the appetite of people that are driving in their car and going, what in the world is all this ranting about? And they go and find the videos. So we're doing our part to get the word out and try to address all these topics that you guys want us to talk about. So if you have any topics that you're interested in, definitely drop me a line, drop me a note. You can leave a comment on YouTube. You can drop me a DM here on Instagram. And you can always email me, livinglowcarbman@charter.net. We'll see you guys a little bit later on. Thanks.